The clock is ticking. The hum of the universe feels louder than ever, as if creation itself is holding its breath, waiting to see what you will do next. Every second that passes is a spark, a pulse, a reminder that you are alive in the most critical era humanity has ever faced. It's no coincidence that you're here, now, at this precise intersection of time and destiny. You might not realize it yet, but deep down, something in you knows this truth: the future is not happening to you. It's happening through you. You are the architect of what comes next. The countdown has begun, and the world is silently turning its gaze toward you. There are moments in life when you feel the weight of everything: the wars, the noise, the uncertainty, the fractured hope that seems to cling to the edge of extinction. You look around and wonder how humanity, with all its brilliance and promise, has drifted so far from the purity of purpose it once had. But maybe this is exactly how evolution works. Maybe collapse precedes awakening. Maybe before humanity can rise, it must first be shaken to its core. And maybe, just maybe, that's why you are here, to hold the line, to be the voice that refuses to be silenced, to be the heart that beats with conviction when others have forgotten what conviction feels like. The final countdown isn't a moment in time, it's a vibration. It's the awareness that every choice you make, every thought you allow, every word you speak ripples into the collective fabric of our shared reality. You are not small. You are not powerless. You are the culmination of every generation before you, carrying their lessons, their dreams, their unfinished battles, and their silent prayers. You are what they hoped for, a being capable of awareness, compassion, and change. That's the power you hold, even when you doubt it. Especially when you doubt it, look around. The signs are everywhere. The systems that once governed human life are crumbling, revealing their illusions one by one. The old paradigms are collapsing under their own weight, unable to contain the consciousness that is rising from within humanity. And while many fear this fall, you can sense something deeper, that it's not an ending, but a beginning disguised as chaos. The world is not dying. It is transforming. The fire that consumes is the same fire that purifies. The ashes that fall are not symbols of defeat, but of rebirth. This is the moment when humanity decides what it will become. And you, yes, you, are the decision maker. You might think you're just one person, but remember, every revolution began with one person who decided to stop waiting. Every breakthrough, every shift, every era of progress began when someone refused to be silent, refused to surrender, refused to believe that they were too small to make a difference. You are that someone now. The world doesn't need more spectators. It needs participants, souls who dare to stand in the storm and still believe in the sun. It needs people who will not just talk about change but embody it. And that's the call that echoes within you now, the voice that won't let you sleep peacefully while the world burns quietly. It's not anxiety. It's awakening, Every heartbeat is a drumbeat of destiny, reminding you that time is not infinite. There is urgency in the air, not of fear, but of purpose. The countdown isn't about the end of the world. It's about the end of indifference. The end of waiting for someone else to fix what you were born to heal. This is your era to rise. Not for applause or validation, but because something ancient in your soul recognizes this as your assignment. You were made for this time. You carry codes, ideas, empathy, and resilience that this world desperately needs. You are not an accident of biology, you are a deliberate act of destiny. Some nights, when you feel the heaviness of it all, you might wonder if you're enough, if you can possibly hold the responsibility that the universe seems to be handing you. But remember, greatness never announces itself with fireworks. It begins quietly, in the stillness of your own resolve. It's in the decision to keep showing up. To keep choosing hope when cynicism feels easier. To keep believing that your small acts of kindness, creativity, or courage are seeds that will one day bloom into something far greater than you can imagine. You might not see the results today, but the countdown doesn't demand perfection, only participation. Think of the billions of hearts beating right now, each one a spark of consciousness trying to find meaning. Humanity is a symphony, messy, unpredictable, yet magnificent. And like any symphony, it only works when every note plays its part. That's you. You're a note in the grand melody of existence, and without your sound, the song is incomplete. You hold the frequency that could shift everything, because change doesn't come from the masses first. It begins in the mind of one awakened soul who realizes that the future is not written in stone, but written in choice. You might not lead armies or govern nations, but you lead energy. Every thought you choose becomes a signal, an emission that shapes the collective. Imagine if every person understood that their internal world designs the external one, that peace within one person can create peace within a home, then a community, then a civilization. That's how humanity transforms, not through domination, but through resonance. You don't need to save the world, you only need to awaken it. The countdown to humanity's future isn't a ticking clock, it's a rising heartbeat, and still, there is a temptation to wait, to think the time isn't right, that you must prepare more. Learn more, become more before you act. But the truth is, the time is now. The universe doesn't wait for readiness, it waits for willingness. The greatest revolutions in history began not because someone was ready, but because someone was no longer willing to live unchanged. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to begin. Begin where you are, with what you have, with the heart that's already whispering what to do next. Trust that whisper, it's the compass of your soul. You are standing on the threshold of history. Not the history written in books, but the one written in energy, in spirit, in the unseen ripple that your presence sends through the fabric of time. The countdown has begun. Not to pressure you, but to awaken you. To remind you that everything you've endured, every setback, every heartbreak, every challenge has been training you for this very moment. You were not meant to just survive, you were meant to ignite. You are not here by chance, you are here because the future needs you awake. The air feels different now. You can sense it, a quiet vibration under everything, like the hum before a storm. It's not fear, it's potential. The world is trembling not from destruction, but from possibility. The old structures are breaking, not because humanity has failed, but because the human spirit can no longer fit inside them. What you are feeling is evolution in motion, consciousness expanding beyond what it was told was possible. And you, right now, are a living cell within that evolution, carrying the frequency of the future. The truth is, every generation believes they are living in the most crucial moment of history. But this time, it's different. Humanity is standing at a crossroads, one path leading to deeper division, artificiality, and disconnection, the other, toward unity, wisdom, and awakening. Technology is growing faster than empathy. Information spreads faster than understanding. Power is concentrated while compassion is diluted. But amid this imbalance, a new energy is emerging, individuals who refuse to live by the rules of fear, who see beyond the illusion of separation. You are one of them. You are part of the quiet revolution that doesn't need banners or weapons, only awareness. You don't need to save everyone. You don't need to fix the world. What you need to do is remember who you are, not a body, not a role, not a name, but a consciousness capable of altering reality. The future of humanity depends less on institutions and more on the individual awakening to their own creative power. The countdown isn't measured in days or years, but in awareness. The moment enough people remember that they are not helpless, the timeline shifts. The energy of one person anchored in truth is stronger than 1,000 lost in fear. That's how change begins, quietly, like light spreading through cracks in a dark room. There's a moment in every hero's story when they realize no one is coming to save them, that they must become the savior they were waiting for. That moment is now, not just for you, but for the human race. The external chaos you see is a mirror of the internal one we've ignored. The wars we fight, the greed we justify, the pain we inflict are reflections of what happens when we forget our own light. But when one person chooses love over anger, clarity over confusion, forgiveness over bitterness, the timeline shifts. The countdown slows. The future recalibrates. You have to understand, you are not here by mistake. You are a thread in the grand weave of destiny, and your choices send signals through the entire tapestry. You might never see the full impact of what you do, but that doesn't mean it's small. Every time you choose compassion in a world that profits from conflict, you defy the system. Every time you choose creativity instead of conformity, you expand the collective imagination. Every time you choose to rise when it would be easier to retreat, you give others silent permission to do the same. That's what leadership looks like in this era, not authority, but authenticity. When the countdown began, humanity still believed it had endless time to heal the planet, to end poverty, to evolve beyond ego. But now the illusion of endlessness has been shattered. Climate change, conflict, corruption, loneliness, they are no longer distant problems. They are signals. And yet, the signal beneath them all whispers something powerful: wake up. You don't need to panic. You need to remember. Remember that humanity has always thrived when its back is against the wall. Remember that crisis is the catalyst for creation. Remember that before dawn, there is always darkness, not as punishment, but as preparation. You are standing in that darkness now, but you are not lost. You are learning to see without light, to trust the unseen guidance that speaks through intuition, emotion, and synchronicity. That quiet voice inside that says, keep going, even when everything outside says stop. That's the universe training you for leadership in a world that's forgotten how to follow truth. The countdown tests you. It strips away illusions, distractions, the noise of unaligned desires, until all that remains is essence. And that essence is your power. There will be moments when you feel alone in this mission. When you look around and wonder if anyone else can feel what you feel, that deep sense of urgency wrapped in quiet purpose. But know this, millions feel it too. You are not alone, you are part of a hidden network of awakened souls scattered across the globe, each playing their part. Some speak, some build, some create art, some raise children, some heal quietly with words or touch. Together, you form the invisible architecture of the new world being born. This is what the final countdown truly means. Not a doomsday clock ticking toward annihilation, but a sacred timer counting down to rebirth. Humanity is shedding its skin. The question is not whether we will survive, but who we will become. Will we evolve into beings guided by consciousness, empathy, and connection? Or will we cling to the old fear-based systems that divide and diminish us? The answer isn't out there. It's in you. The future will mirror the frequency you choose to embody. If you look back through history, every great transformation began with those who dared to imagine something beyond what was accepted. Every idea that shaped humanity, freedom, justice, compassion, discovery, began as a spark in one human mind. One idea can ignite nations. One voice can shake empires. One person who refuses to give up can shift the trajectory of generations. You might not realize it, but you are that person in someone's story right now. You are the reason someone hasn't given up. You are the light in a world that has forgotten the stars, and when you feel tired, when the weight of the world feels too much, remember that even the stars burn out to be reborn. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to doubt. But you are not allowed to forget why you started. You are not allowed to forget that within you lies the code of the next chapter of humanity. You are not a random observer of this timeline, you are its participant, its creator, its shaper. Every breath you take is a vote, for fear or for faith, for stagnation or for evolution. The final countdown is not a call to panic, but a call to presence. It's asking you to wake up to your power, to see beyond the noise of the world and feel the pulse beneath it, the steady, unstoppable heartbeat of humanity still striving toward the light. There is something sacred about this time. The old systems are fading, yes, but they are making room for something new, something born from truth, unity, and awareness. It won't be built overnight. It will be built by souls like yours, who choose every day to act from love instead of fear, and maybe, just maybe, that's all the universe ever needed, a handful of humans who remember who they are. Who understand that every act of kindness is a revolution. That every moment of mindfulness heals the collective. That every dream pursued with courage pulls humanity forward, one heartbeat at a time. The final countdown is not about the end. It's about the beginning of a humanity that finally chooses consciousness over chaos. So take a breath. Feel the weight of this moment, not as a burden, but as a gift. You were chosen to live now, to witness and to create. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. And somewhere in the vast silence of the universe, something is watching, waiting to see what you will do with this extraordinary chance. The final countdown is not warning you, it's inviting you to rise, to remember, to become the answer humanity has been waiting for. You are the hinge between two worlds, one that has forgotten its soul and one that is learning to breathe again. The old world built its foundations on fear, control, and division. It taught you to compete instead of connect, to survive instead of thrive, to question your worth instead of remember it. But the new world whispers something different. It tells you that power was never meant to be taken, it was meant to be shared. That leadership was never about dominance, it was about service. That love was never a weakness, it was the highest form of intelligence, and yet, this transition isn't gentle. Evolution never is. Humanity stands on a precipice, balancing between self-destruction and self-realization. The countdown isn't a clock ticking toward the end, it's the sound of destiny demanding your participation. The tension you feel isn't chaos, it's creation. The discomfort you sense isn't a sign of doom, it's the labor pain of rebirth. Everything that seems to be falling apart is actually rearranging itself around a higher truth. And you are part of that rearrangement, not as an observer, but as a catalyst. The future doesn't belong to those who predict it. It belongs to those who create it. That's what this countdown means. You are standing in the forge of transformation, and the flames around you are not meant to destroy, but to refine. Every struggle, every loss, every heartbreak has been sculpting you into the person who can hold the light without dropping it. You've been tempered by trials not to suffer, but to strengthen. You've been challenged not to be broken, but to become unbreakable in your purpose. Sometimes you'll hear people say that the world is too far gone, that humanity has lost its way, that there's no turning back. But that's the voice of surrender, not truth. History has proven again and again that the human spirit cannot be extinguished. It adapts, it evolves, it rises. Every collapse births a renaissance. Every ending seeds a beginning. And what we are living through now is not the apocalypse, it's the unveiling. The unveiling of truth, of consciousness, of who we really are beneath the noise of survival. You hold the answer to humanity's future because the answer isn't written in governments or technologies or systems. It's written in the human heart. It's written in the way you choose to see the world. In the way you choose to show up for it. The most powerful revolution is not one fought on battlefields, but in minds. It's the revolution of awareness. When enough people awaken to their own consciousness, the entire world shifts. Power becomes fluid. Borders dissolve. Compassion replaces competition. That's how you change history, not through dominance, but through alignment. This is not idealism. It's evolution. What you believe creates what you experience. What you focus on expands. And if enough of us focus on what's possible instead of what's broken, we rewrite the future itself. That's why the final countdown is not a warning, it's a mirror. It's asking you, what timeline will you choose? One built on fear, scarcity, and control. Or one built on trust, abundance, and love. The clock doesn't decide, you do. Every thought you think carries frequency. Every emotion you feel sends waves into the collective ocean of humanity. You've been told that your individual energy doesn't matter, but that's the greatest lie ever sold. One candle can ignite 1,000 others without losing its own flame. Imagine millions of candles lit in the darkness. That's how the dawn arrives. And the dawn is coming, whether or not the world believes it. Because belief doesn't create truth, alignment does. You are here to align, not to argue. To embody, not to escape. The world doesn't need more opinions, it needs examples. You are being called to live as the proof of what's possible, to walk with integrity, to act from love even when no one is watching. Because every moment you do, the countdown slows. The fear that fuels chaos begins to dissolve. The world subtly shifts toward balance, and humanity inches closer to remembering itself. There will be resistance. The systems that thrive on separation will not surrender easily. They will whisper to you in the language of doubt, you're just one person. You can't change anything. But the truth is, you already are changing everything, simply by being aware. Awareness disrupts programming. Awareness dismantles illusion. Awareness is the first step of revolution. You don't have to shout to change the world, you only have to see clearly and act with consistency, and in that clarity, you begin to notice the patterns. You see how fear disguises itself as logic. You see how distraction masquerades as progress. You see how people have been trained to chase validation instead of meaning. And then, quietly, you choose a different path. You stop playing the game of approval and start living the truth of authenticity. That single choice sends ripples across the timeline. Because authenticity is contagious. When one person dares to be real, others find the courage to do the same. That's how the new world begins, not with fireworks, but with truth. The countdown reminds you that time is precious, but not because it's running out. It's precious because every moment holds the seed of creation. Right now, this breath, this heartbeat, this thought, they are all doorways. The future isn't waiting ahead, it's unfolding through your awareness. When you choose love in this moment, you rewrite what the next moment becomes. You are the author of time itself, whether you realize it or not. The universe doesn't choose heroes. It creates opportunities, and it waits. It waits for someone brave enough to answer the call. That someone is you. You may doubt it, but that's because you've been taught to measure worth in numbers, followers, wealth, recognition. But the universe doesn't count like that. It measures energy, alignment, intention. And right now, your energy, your alignment, your intention are the most valuable currency in existence. They shape the direction of humanity's future more than you can imagine. You were never meant to fit in, you were meant to stand out, not for attention, but for authenticity. You are the reminder that it's possible to live awake in a world half asleep. You are the living proof that love can still exist amid chaos, that kindness can still thrive amid greed, that integrity can still shine amid corruption. You don't need permission to live in truth. You never did, and that's the secret of this countdown. It's not counting down to an end, but to an awakening. A moment when enough people remember who they truly are. A moment when fear loses its grip, when division loses its purpose, when humanity finally looks in the mirror and sees divinity staring back. That moment doesn't happen someday. It happens each time you choose awareness over autopilot, compassion over reaction, purpose over distraction. This is your role in the grand equation. To live awake. To love fearlessly. To hold vision even when the world trembles. To believe not because you are naive, but because you are courageous enough to trust that light still wins. It always has. It always will, so when the noise of the world feels too loud, return to your breath. That's where your power lives. When the future feels uncertain, return to your heart. That's where truth resides. When everything seems too heavy to carry, remember, you were built for this. You are the vessel through which the impossible becomes inevitable. The countdown is not against you. It's calling you forward, asking one simple question: will you rise?